Hi everyone, it's Mike here. Thanks for joining me for another Make It video. Today we're going to be looking at our Cringle & Co CD, and we're going to be looking at creating this fantastic 3D Gerry and George the Gingerbread Men card. So this is an A5 stepper card. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to do the card base, and then we're going to put the card together. So stay with me. So these are the sheets that I've printed off from the CD. So these are the stepper panels and the side panels. Let me bring that back in to show you. So you've got your side panels and your stepper panels and your insert and panel from the front, which is here. So before I go and cut all these out and show you how to put the card together, I need to show you how I created the card base. So how to create this stepper card base. So I'm going to go and do that now. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the template to start off with. As you can see, all the measurements are already clearly laid out for you. It's exactly the same size as an A4 piece of paper, so the template was printed out on A4, and all the lines are all in exactly the right place that you need for an A4 card. Now you can see there is a line that runs right the way down the middle, so this is going to be your centre crease, and then you have all your measurements for your steps. Okay, but as I always do, I don't make you measure anything, because there is a way of actually creating the card without having to measure anything. But you just need to be aware of where your corner points are and where your creases are going to be. So this is going to be your full centre crease that runs right the way through the middle. So these lines here are your steppers, so that will be the crease lines for your steppers. So that means that the point from here to here is going to be a cut, and from here to here will be a cut too. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done one so I can show you with the template exactly what I mean. So here's one I prepared earlier in true TV style for you. So as you can see, I'll turn the template so it's the right way around. Actually, it's easier if I turn it around that way so you can see it better. So if I lay that template just like that and then move that off, you can see where all the crease lines are. Now I've deliberately put the lighting the way I have so you can see where the shadows fall. Let me just move that into the middle. So you have all your creases here, and then you have your two cut lines there, and this is the centre crease that runs all the way down the middle of the card. So that literally is your card folded in half. And then all you're doing is, when you've actually put your score lines in, which I'm going to show you in a second, you're just lifting it up and then pushing that bit down to create your valleys and your mountains. But I will show you how to create this from scratch. So there is your card base that fits the printed kits. Now we'll get onto the printed kits in a minute. I just want to make sure that you're okay with creating this card first. Okay, so let me put this one to one side and I will show you how I created it. But I'll do it using that lovely green card base that we're going to use for the Gerry and George card. So, and what I'll also do is I will lay the template over the top so you can see exactly. So I'm going to lift both of them up, line them both up, and then lay it back down flat. Now I'm going to take a pokey tool. Now where all these corners are here is where I'm going to put some holes using the pokey tool. I'm also going to put one at the top of that crease line so I don't have to measure it, and we've got another one there. So those will be our centre crease right the way down the middle. And I'm going to put another one there and another one there, just so we can line that crease up. So where the end lines are, or the tops of your lines, you just pop a hole through your template into the card below. So literally on the corner, just push, push, push. We've already done that one, but you can do it again for good measure if you want to, and then there. So that's the top line, and then we're going to do exactly the same on these points here. So push through. Again, we've already done that one, but we'll do it again for good measure. Push down again, push down again, and then push down again. And that's it. You don't need to do any measuring at all. Now that, theoretically, you're done with that template now, so you can put that away for future use. And then we're left with our green card. Now I'll hold this up to the camera so you can see the holes that's gone through. See if I can try and get them. There you go. You can see the line of the holes running down there. I can just turn it so you can see them a bit better. I've only got a little screen here, so I can't really see. You can see the lines there, or you can see the holes, and then the ones at the bottom, if I can find them, are there. So you can see the holes there. And one there. So let's just drop that down. So all we're going to do is we're going to take an embossing tool. I just have one like this, a little ball tool, and we're going to take a ruler and we're going to place our embossing tool into the first hole, bring the ruler up to it, and then just line that up with the hole there, and then we're just going to run our embossing tool between the two holes that you've pricked into the card. Now let me see if I can show that in the light. There you go, you can now see that line between the two. And we're going to do that for all the lines. So we've got another 1, 2, we've got our centre crease that runs right the way down the middle of the card, and our end one there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest. All the way down. And for this one, and then our centre crease all the way up, right the way, making sure we go all the way across, and then finally our last one between the two holes there. So I'll hold that back up again so you can see the lines. So there you go. You can see those lines now where I've scored between the pricking points, and then we'll have that one running right the way down the middle. So all we're going to do now is then turn it round, grab your craft knife, and then we're going to cut from the topmost to the bottommost hole. So just line up your ruler, make sure you've got everything lined up. Now I'm just placing the point of my knife into the hole and then pushing the ruler up to it, and then just do a couple of cuts, nice and gentle. You don't have to put a lot of pressure down if your blade's sharp, and that should take you all the way through. Just have a look at that one. Go all the way through. Not quite, well I'll do that again. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it, I'm just putting the knife back into the hole, bringing the ruler back up to it, and then just running the knife down. Yeah, I think we're through now, and then I'm just going to turn it round and do it again. So I'll do it at an angle, see if you can see it better. So push up to the ruler, up to the line, and then bring it down. I think we're through. I think my knife needs its blade changing. There you go, we're all done. So I'll put that to one side now. So there we have our card base. Now you can see the score lines, and you can see now where I've done my cuts. So all I'm going to do is just fold the card in half. And if you have a bone folder, you can just burnish that if you want to. Let's see if I can find mine, which will be buried at the bottom of my little tool case. I'll turn it round, and I'm just going to burnish those creases there. Okay, so You can then fold it back on itself just to make sure. So you're taking it both ways. Okay, so you can now see you've got the peaks there. So all you do is just push down and then tweak that centre one and then pull that one down and then just follow the mountains and valleys as you go. And then you can just burnish each one of those creases. And there you have your stepper card. Easy as that, and no measuring. No measuring, 2 cuts and a couple of creases. And you have a very easy to create and very effective card base. So I'm just going to run my bone folder along each one. And there you go. So there's your stepper card using that template that you can now use over and over again. And this is on the Cringle & Co CD, so you do get that regardless. It's on the CD for any of the stepper card kits that are on that CD, or the Cringle & Co CD. Okay, so our next step is to cut out all our elements for the front of our card. And don't forget, we've also got some gold mirror board just to add that little bit of festive sparkle. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all these bits out, and then I'll be back with you in 2 minutes. So I have all my pieces all nicely cut out. So we have our little Gerry and George characters. I have my 2 side panels and my candy canes. Now I've already gone round the edges like I normally do with one of the Distress ink pens. The only bit that I haven't done yet is I've not gone round Gerry and George. I've gone round the green bit, but I haven't gone round Gerry and George yet. So I was going to just quickly show you how I do that. So I'm just taking a brown brushed corduroy in this case, and I'm just going to hold it lightly and then just go around the edges, and this will disguise any of those little cuts that you may do that are not quite perfect, and it just adds that little finishing touch to your cards and just turns them into just that little bit more polished and finished. If nobody can see the white edges to your cuts. So that's it. So I've already gone around and all the green, and I used peel paint for that one. So I've got peel paint and brush corduroy for those. So I can put those back away with all my other pens. Okay, ready for the next time. So we have our 2 the panels that go in for the steppers. So we'll put those to one side. We have our insert panel, which I want to mount on a little bit of gold. I've got my panel that runs between the 2 uprights on the card. So that's going to sit in there, but again I want to add a little bit of gold border around that. I have my sentiment, which is just the season's greetings, that will sit on there when we're done, and then I have the 2 riser panels that I also want to put a little bit of gold behind as well. So these are the bits that I want to add the gold to. Now they're just straightforward square cuts. So the easiest thing to do for those, what I tend to do is I layer these up. So I'm going to take my wet glue and just lift that little bit of cover off that there, and then just run the glue very lightly. Now if you're going to use this type of glue, be careful with your mirror board, because sometimes it can react. And all I'm going to do with that is just lay it over the top, and then just have a very, very small gold border. I'm not having a huge one. And I'm just going to lightly lay it down. And I'm going to do the same at the other side. A little glue. And of course the glue just rubs off if you get any on your fingers. And then so I don't have to measure out again, I'm going to line that bit up with that corner there and try and get the same equal border as I did at this side. Now we're not wanting to make it too big, it's literally just a hint of gold. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that round, take my ruler and my craft knife. Because these are the same height, we can literally cut them both out at the same time. So we even it up and just gently cut our mats. There we go. So put that to one side, and then we can just simply cut our mat, line our ruler up, and then just run down. It saves having to measure all the time. And then we have a nice gold border all the way around. And I'm going to turn that round. I'm right-handed, so I find it easy to cut on the right-hand side. But obviously, if you're left-handed, you cut however is easier for you. So we have a little piece of spare gold there, and there's that side. Lovely. So they're ready to be matted and layered on, so they're done. Let's see if we can get a piece out of this. Now that's going to be too big, but this piece, which is our centre panel, we should be able to get out and do exactly the same thing with that. So just grab some glue. Oh, excuse the noise. Things falling all over the place. So I get just, oh, excuse me, do a little bit of glue, not a lot, just a little, and then we'll just line that up exactly the same way that we did the last time. So drop it down, equal that border out. The wet glue allows you to have a little bit of wiggle room before it grabs, and then just gently pop, and then you can cut your borders very easily. And just turn that around and then match up your gold border. A little bit more, there we go. Nice and gentle, just gentle strokes with your knife. You don't have to press really, really hard. 2 or 3 passes, we'll see it done. There we go. So we now have a nice gold border all the way around our centre panel too. Okay, so I just want one more, and that's for the insert panel. So I have to have a second piece of gold for that. If you've just got an A4 sheet, you'll have plenty. These are just cut into A5 for my own personal use, is just so that it's easy for me to store them. And a little bit down the middle. Just a little border. It doesn't really make that much difference on the inside of the card because you have got a little bit more room to play with. So even if you've got a little slightly larger border, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to fit exactly with what's on the front because you've got more space. On the front you're limited to the amount of space you can use because of the risers. But on the inside the space is a bit more, so you could have a little bit more of a border if you wanted to. And then just even that up as equal as we can. And that's it done. I'll put that mirror board to one side, and that's our insert panel with our little gold border too. Very, very pretty. Okay, so I think we are ready to construct. So I'm going to bring the card blank back in, and I'm actually going to flatten it. There you go, because this is going to make placing your pieces easier. So we'll start with our side panels, and we can take our glue. You could use double-sided tape again if you wanted to, but I like the wet glue because I find it easier for positioning. So I'm going to turn that round and lay that right in the middle, and then I can just wiggle it slightly to make sure that we have the right border, an equal border at both sides and top and bottom. That looks like it to me. And then do the same thing again. Okay. And then just drop that down and then wiggle it till you're happy you've got it in the right place. Perfect. Then we have our centre panel. A little bit of glue on there. Of course, you could go to town with your stickles after this, your glitter glues and that kind of thing, or your Wink of Stella pens. But I think once you've added in your gold, you don't really need it. There we go. It just fits exactly in the middle. You could have done with maybe taking maybe a little millimetre off, but that's fine. Just make sure it's lined up and equal. I think that looks okay. And then before we stick our other bits on, let's get our centre insert panel in. And that can be drying while we're adding the last bits in. So the insert panel just wants to go in like that. See, that's what I meant by you've got a little bit more room to play with to get a little bit more of a larger gold border if you'd wanted. But I think that looks rather lovely as it is. And then just give that a squeeze down. There we go. Lovely. And then we can then add our panels to open up again. So we're just going to add our panels into here. Now I'm just going to take a little bit more off the side of one because I think I've cut it a little bit too big. But this is the beauty, is you can adjust to fit. There we go. That should do us. I'm going to bring that back in and then put a little bit of glue on the bottom here, just there. And I'm going to slide that into that panel section there, and then give it a squeeze, and then I can just manoeuvre it slightly so that it fits bang in the centre. There we go. Now, looking good already. And then we just have to put our little candy cane pieces in. So again, a little bit of glue across the bottom. and then we can slide those candy cane pieces straight in. If you want to, just raise them up a little bit. Now, as long as you don't go any higher than that, you can take them right up if you want to. So you can pull, because that's going to be your envelope. So you can literally just pull them up as far as you want, and then even out, because you've got that little bit of wiggle room. Just like so. How lovely is that? Candy canes and gingerbread men. And then we just finally, we just have to pop our sentiment on. All I'm going to do is just drop that down with a little foam pad right in the middle. Peel it off and then just pop that into the centre of my panel there. And there you go. There's your Gerry and George green and gold, all festive colours, beautiful stepper card for Christmas.